We're all set, everybody? So call us to order, okay? So what do we have? 7:04 it looks like, so call the group to order. Karen?
Okay, welcome. At least 72 hours prior to each regular Airport Authority meeting, a complete agenda packet is available for review on the city's website at www.cityofmerced.gov or at the city clerk's office at 678 West 18th Street, Merced, California 95340. All public records in relation to an open session item that are distributed to a majority of the commission will be available for public inspection at the city clerk's office during regular business hours. Assisted hearing devices are available for meetings held in the council chamber. Public comment. Please obtain a speaker card from the Regional Airport Authority clerk. Members of the audience who wish to address the Regional Airport Authority are requested to complete a speaker card available at the podium against the back of the council chamber. Please submit the completed card to the Regional Airport Authority clerk before an item is called, preferably before the meeting begins. Material may be emailed to flymercedairport@cityofmerced.gov no later than 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Please specify which portion of the agenda you're commenting on, for example, report item number or public comment. Your comments will be presented to the Regional Airport Authority at the appropriate time. Any correspondence received after 1 p.m. will be distributed to the Regional Airport Authority and retained for the official record.
Okay, so call us to order. Okay. So you want to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with us? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Okay.
Do roll call?
Roll call, silent roll call has been taken.
Oh, okay.
Public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak on any matter not listed on the agenda may speak during this portion of the meeting and will be allotted 3 minutes. State law prohibits the Regional Airport Authority from acting at this meeting on any matter raised during the public comment period. Members of the public who wish to speak on a matter that is listed on the agenda will be called upon to speak during discussion of that item.
You want to move on to Section E, reports then?
Yes, so we have airport manager report.
Good evening, Board. Chairman Scoble. For the manager report today, we're talking about our landing and also working on during the terminal replacement project, our new airport access control system and the badging system, like what I'm wearing here. Currently, we're working on, or myself and the airport staff are working on the authentication, authorizing physical access, logistics access control, and this is to help track the presence, activities, and the badge holders to oversight investigations and analytics. This is still an ongoing process. It's a very detailed process. It's a help to support emergency response, enable rapid accountability, zone lockdowns, access control, prioritize in emergencies or emergency response during incidents. This also meets with the TSA guidelines and the FAA regulatory requirements with the airline, airside, sterile, but we are not at that level, but this is just an extra precautionary since we've paid for the system with the grant. We like to use the system, so we're currently working on that every day on the different items, and last week when we had the power outage, we're figuring out which ones worked, which ones didn't, so trial and error to ensure that we have a seamless process when we go in the future. And we also wanted to show the landing reports thus far up till September here with our cargo as well. Our cargo has actually gone up as well at the very bottom there with the redding arrow. We're currently at 241,000 pounds so far total for the year. As you can see, it's grown from the summer months, from July, August, September. And more importantly, on our emplanements, our airline landings during the summer, July, August, and September, 101 to 102 respectively of actual landings. And then the emplanements have grown, as you can see, to 397, 423 to 402 as well. So we are on a steady growth path still at the current rate, which is better than we were the years before too. So people are using it and the word's getting out there as well, and we're moving in the right direction to get to our goal eventually.
Brent, any sense of what the load factors are on Advanced Air coming in and or going out?
Yeah, they're about 80 in the 80 percentile, more or less. And they've kept the flights mostly at that level, even on the weekdays, more or less. So, yeah.
Okay. I guess the only other question is, how are we doing on keeping them informed of air activities going on in and around the county? Would be within travel distance of visitors. I know they talk about Yosemite a lot, but.
Can you ask that question one more time? Like, what specifically you're asking? How are they informed of the activities to market?
Pretty much, yeah. Do we do anything to keep them informed of all the other activities? Not that there's a whole lot, but other activities here and around Merced, like the bike race that was a year ago or almost a year ago. Did we communicate to them early enough to advertise that within their
Oh, with the airline?
traveling public?
With the airline?
Yeah, with the Advanced Air. Or?
Yeah. So they have that community outreach person that works within their marketing department and communicating with her about the different special events we have, from the Christmas parades to not only just Yosemite, like you said, but the greater Merced County of what's going on. However, they will provide that quarterly report at the end of what they've done, but they are actively pushing that on their social media mostly. Target-wise, they're still kind of doing the same marketing that they have been.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Or?
Mr. Chairman and authority
Yes,
members, just as a point of clarification here, Mr. Williams reported on E1 and E2 combined. So although we don't have any audience members, we just need to make sure we provide an opportunity for the public to comment. And if there isn't anyone here, we just note that there's nobody in the audience, so there was no public comment.
Okay. So do you want me to read those, write that into the record?
We can just do that through the clerk with Ms. Baker.
Okay, Karen. So no public comment?
There is no public comment.
No present?
No.
Okay.
No one present.
Okay, we're down to E3. The Brown Act presentation?
So we have the opportunity to hear from our city attorney, Mr. Craig Cornwell, and I believe, Craig, in December, he'll be with us 2 years.
Yes.
So we were fortunate to get Mr. Cornwell from the city of Compton, and he's doubled his staff in 2 years. So now there are 2 attorneys at the city of Merced. And what we are doing now is the clerk's office and the city manager has asked that each body that the city council appoints get Brown Act training and then eventually protocol and governance training. So we're gonna start first with the Brown Act, and as time goes on with other meetings, we'll introduce those other things. So this is really the core of tonight's meeting, is a briefing on the Brown Act. Mr. Cornwell, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and board members. It's a pleasure to be here.
Glad to
Yeah.
have you, and welcome.
Thank
Since
you.
we haven't met before, welcome to the town.
Thank you. I hope it's not a surprise that this is the main event of the meeting. But the Brown Act, you did half the presentation you did before Rhett's presentation. I mean, most of it, staff make sure it happens at every meeting. So we'll go through that, but there are a couple of things that board members need to know, and their actions are restricted for the purposes of the Brown Act. So how did we get here? In the early 1950s, a reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle did a 10-part series called Your Secret Government. And it exposed how local agencies were having these caucuses away from the actual meeting and then coming to the meeting having already made a decision, right? So that got to the attention of Ralph M. Brown, who was a state assemblyman, and he championed the state law that we now refer to as the Brown Act. We named it after him because he authored the act. And it is in the California Government Code, but as a quick reference, we call it the Brown Act. Basically, what this is about is what's referred to as the sunshine laws, which means when your tax dollars are at work, it should happen where the public can see what's going on. We want to know not only the results, which are, the votes that are taken, we also want to hear the deliberation, the discussion, the sides that are taken. And it really connects the representatives of the jurisdiction with the folks that put them in office. So we can have a meeting where there is participation from the whole group. When you come to the meeting, you already have a copy of your agenda. You're reading a section at the beginning of the meeting saying that at least 72 hours prior, the agenda was posted. And there's a requirement that we say enough regarding what's going to happen to give the public notice that, oh, it may be something I'd want to attend. We don't have to, have detailed pages of information for the agenda, but we have to give enough so that someone who is interested in the subject matter could attend if they wanted to. Some of the issues we'll go over this evening, the type of groups that are covered by the Brown Act, what constitutes a meeting, and that's of particular note to the members, so we'll go over that in detail. The notice and agenda requirements that I just talked about, and the public's rights under the Brown Act and the consequences for violating the Brown Act. So we are talking, is it on their monitors? If you hit program,
If you hit program, you can see the
you guys don't have to
turn
get a
around.
next screen.
Oh,
Okay,
we all have.
I started feeling bad.
That's all right.
So government bodies, the city council, but for our purposes this evening is when city council by ordinance or resolution creates another body, like they've done for the airport authority, that body then becomes subject to the Brown Act as well. What is a meeting? That's when there is a majority of the membership in one location at the same time, including teleconferencing, to discuss, deliberate, or decide on any item that's within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. And of course, there are exceptions, but as a general proposition, when the four of you are together, whether you're on this dais, whether you're at a restaurant, if it's four of you together, you're discussing what's in the subject matter jurisdiction at the same time or location, it could be a meeting. And there's, and we'll get to the impact of a meeting shortly. Now, serial meeting. This is important. This is something that the members have to know, and staff can't help out as much here. So because we have an agenda requirement, and the agenda says where the meeting is going to occur, that's where the Brown Act requires the meeting to take place. So one of the major violations of that is when you have a serial meeting, and a serial meeting are meetings outside of the posted agenda, where that is detailing where the meeting's gonna take place. So when you're not in the council chambers, we have to be careful not to be in a meeting. Here's a couple of ways you can be in a meeting outside of the chambers. One is called the hub and spoke. The hub and spoke is when one board member will speak with Mr. Quintero about something under the board's jurisdiction. And let's imagine you say, I'm going to be in favor of that agenda item coming up next week. Then the next member calls them and says, I'm going to be in favor of the agenda item coming up next week. And we go down and we get four people talking about what's coming on the agenda. You guys didn't talk to each other, but you've connected your views on the agenda outside of the meeting. That's considered a discussion and is called a hub and spoke serial meeting. And that is a violation of the act. More common is a chain or series of meetings where one of you calls the other member, get off the phone, let's say it's a phone call, get off the phone, you call the next member, get off the phone, you call the next member. And you're discussing the item, you're coming to a consensus of how you're gonna vote, and then you're coming to the meeting having decided and having those discussions outside of the open meeting, right? So if we go back at the beginning, the purpose of all this restrictions is that we have these discussions at a specific place and time where the public can join us and participate if they'd like, or at least hear the discussions going on. So this is what serial meetings is, where we would underline and circle, and those are big violations of the Brown Act.
Greg, can I ask you a question
Please.
in there? Just an example, if one of the members calls another member, then the original caller is not involved in this second person calling someone else or aware. Does that still ultimately fall into that same category?
Yes, because if you continue that to the point where you have a majority,
Mm-hmm.
you have that chain, right? So it just takes one to connect, then one to connect to the next one, and then one to connect. And
So it's an easy trap to fall into.
yes,
Okay. Thank you.
one of the things to be concerned about is discussions that result in, hey, board member, I'm against this item. I'm for this item, whichever. Keep those discussions to the dais, right? And then everybody can hear the discussion and you're fine. Or if you're talking to a board member, make sure it's not going further down the line. We don't want to get to the majority. Another concern is technology. My example is the telephone. That shows how outdated I am. We got emails, we got text messages. The big problem, I think is gonna come on another slide, is the reply all. So these are all communications, these are all discussions. If you're on an email that has all the board members and staff members, and there's a discussion, and you hit reply all, now you're communicating to a majority of the membership, and it can be a hub and spoke or a daisy chain issue. So if you wanna reply to staff, just reply directly to staff. Those are in it. It can occur in chat rooms, social media. I mean, we have so many options these days for communication. We have to be very careful when we're on a commission or a board. This is the slide that talks about reply all. Is a concern. When can an issue or discussion become a concern for Brown Act purposes? Again, if you're talking about the subject matter jurisdiction of your authority, board, or commission, that should be a warning. All 7 of this board can meet and play bingo and watch Netflix and have a great time and never talk about the airport or any of the issues that come up before you, and that's not an issue. But once you start talking about the airport, there's at least 4 of you present, you're starting to hit the red flags that you could be having a meeting that wasn't noticed, didn't have an agenda, and the public isn't aware. Another reply all concern. Exceptions, less than majority is not a problem. Going to other events, educational conferences, other meetings, go to the movies, you can go, we're not controlling your social calendar. It's just talking about your official business. Social and ceremonial events, going to, the whole group can go to the city council meeting, sit next to each other, it's not an issue. Agendas and notice, this is what, I was paying attention to the, what you're reading out when the meeting started. And basically, this is what you're saying. This meeting was preceded by a posted agenda. It's telling you what's going to be occurring, the topics that are going to be discussed. When the chair was reading out, we're going to talk about E1 and then E3. These are all agenda items that the public had notice of. And the time's got to be there. We got to say it at 7 o'clock in the chambers. And then we describe what's going to be transacted or discussed. So at the beginning, we don't have the example tonight, but at the beginning of the meetings, the public is able to make comments. They can make comments on agenda items and what's referred to as non-agendized items. So the public can bring to your attention items that is within your subject matter jurisdiction, but it's not on this agenda, this particular agenda. So we should still be talking about airport-related matters, right? It would be outside of the Brown Act intent if I got up talking about international affairs or global issues. That's not what the board is convened to discuss. That's not within your jurisdictional authority. But I could talk about other items that aren't on the agenda. And you are able to briefly respond. Thank you for the comment. I think we should look into that issue that you brought up, and we may have it on a subsequent agenda for discussion. You have to be careful to not get into a dialogue or multiple rounds of discussion because it's not agendized. So you can have brief response, you can ask staff for to briefly comment or to agendize the issue for a future meeting. But the meeting can't happen right in the moment because we didn't have the notice to the public that we're gonna really get into that topic. The public has the right to attend and observe. They don't have to say anything. They don't have to comment. They can just sit there and watch the authority at work. But we can't exclude the public unless and I hesitate because unless there's a disruption, and we'll get to that later. But generally, public can come, sit, observe, comment at the appropriate time, and that is all fine. There is an issue. There's a section of the Brown Act that deals with closed sessions. And those are recognized subjects that the law says, okay, for these subjects, you can go away from the public and discuss it. For example, if the board wanted to discuss a matter that's in litigation, we wouldn't want to talk about litigation publicly because the other side could be listening to our strategy. So the law says, okay, you can go away from the public in a closed session, but if you vote on an item in that closed session, under certain circumstances, you come out and you report what you voted on. So at least the public gets to know about the vote, even though they're excluded from the discussion. And there's about seven to nine specific topics that you can go into closed session and discuss. If you're in a transaction, if you're in a negotiation, you don't want the other side to hear how much money you have to negotiate with. So those type of topics are in closed session. And not sure this authority would take advantage of that much. Okay, if we get in trouble, district attorney's office can, most Brown Act issues start with a letter, a correction letter. It's come to my attention, not the board that was present didn't vote on an item. In 30 days, bring the item back to ensure proper voting is usually how it goes, whether it's the public or the district attorney. Sometimes the district attorney can get more assertive and get a court order to stop a violation. And the court could void an action. They could say that item was not approved because it did not follow Brown Act requirements. Ooh. Okay, I made a note to talk about new amendments. I'm still a little in denial. There's a a Senate Bill 707, that the governor recently signed. It doesn't go into effect, I believe, until next July. And that may be up for discussion. However, the legislature is trying to modernize the Brown Act. And they came up with requirements or amendments to the act to promote a more modernized body of laws. One of the amendments is to allow teleconferencing, virtual participation for the audience, as well as allowing more reasons for board members can show up on the monitor, like in a Zoom meeting or something like that. The challenge is that all jurisdictions are not required. It's a population. If your city has more than 30,000 residents, you have to provide this technology for your constituents. And the state is having a habit of creating restrictions on local government, non-funded restrictions on local government. So there's no guidance on where to get the money to create the technology to have these meetings, but the requirement is there. Agendas have to be transcribed in the 3 top languages of your jurisdiction. And that's decided by what 20% or more of your population speak. They can request the agenda to be transcribed in their language. And again, it doesn't, if you have 30,000 or less, you don't have to comply with these amendments unless you're in a county that has at least 600,000, and then you could have 30,000 or less and have to comply. It's going to be a challenge, but there's time to bemoan this what's coming around the corner and get Merced ready prior to its effective date. Any questions? I'm sure this board is doing a great job on the Brown Act, whether you're know it or not, you've been doing it, so it's been great.
Anybody have any questions or? No, I guess
we're
we're
good.
good.
Yeah.
No, I thank you. This was informative and a good refresher for me.
Good, I'm glad. Okay. Next item.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're through the agenda.
We
Do
are.
have no other comments or How about, do you get a motion to adjourn? Yes. Somebody?
I second that.
Okay, first.
Who is the
first
first?
and second?
Okay.
So third.
Yeah, you're second.
Okay. So say it again. All right. I second that.
Okay, it's 7:43. The meeting
Okay.
is adjourned.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.